Welcome everyone to another episode of Rooftop Perspectives. I am your host, LanceScurv, and as you can see, it is a bright and sunny day. It's not as hot as it looks, but it is up there as far as the heat is concerned. And as you can see, everybody's having fun with the motorcycles and getting around. But anyway, I have to give much respects and thanks to brother I Just Stars The Mindset. We did a 5-hour discussion last night and we went everywhere with it. I want to say to go to his channel and support this brother and subscribe, like all his videos, and check out his content. He's a really powerful, wonderful brother that is putting in some good work that is getting noticed, but the powers that be make it seem as though it's not getting unnoticed, and we have to make sure to support each other that way. We spoke on so many topics and so many things that I can spin off of and make a whole different separate video on. But one thing I wanted to touch on today briefly was the fact that we speak on this thing called the black community. The black community. Is there a black community? We can be herded together and statistics put together on black people worldwide, African people worldwide, but is there really a cohesiveness to us as a people where we have a united front, where we think of each other as one even though we are not all the same? We have differences. We are not monolithic. We understand that. And really and truly, what people are monolithic. And they have overlapping things in their culture, but is everybody the same in the different communities? We don't have to be the same to have a common cause. We don't have to be exactly the same to have a united front where the things that overlap us as far as our interests and our advancement and our protection are of the utmost importance. But for most of us, I would say it's a dwindling number of those who see us or see ourselves as part of a bigger picture, part of a collective. We're individuals who are part of a collective. We don't see it that way. These days, it just seems, and I could speak on it now with every advancing year, but I remember a world where we were truly together more so. We had more love for each other more so. And I gave examples of that from the subconscious, not subconscious, but the little snippets of visuals that have seeped down into my subconscious mind. I remember as a kid, maybe 4, 5, 6 years old, seeing these men who are upright, seeing these men who were stately and had presence to them, and they were the brothers in the Nation of Islam. I saw these guys in Harlem and in Washington Heights. That's where I was born, Washington Heights in Manhattan, before we moved out to Queens, New York. My father had a business and he had a shop in Manhattan, so all the time when I wasn't in school, when I wasn't at home doing stuff, I'd go with him, and I had a taste of that old Washington Heights / Harlem feel, because Washington Heights was just above Harlem and we were always in Harlem. So imagine, in single-digit ages, you're 4 and 5 and 6, and this world that you're in is branded into your subconscious mind, where these brothers who I saw, the Nation of Islam, and it wasn't the final call that they had, it was Muhammad Speaks, and they were walking past the church, and there were some ladies getting out of a car, and they had their broad hats, and they were going into the church. The brothers greeted them, walked up to the door, and held the door for them. And the mothers were saying, God bless you, and they said their words, peace be upon you, assalamu alaikum. But it was a love beyond the differences in religious beliefs and practices, because we knew that we were all one people, you see? So this is the way it worked. I remember seeing guys who I later on learned were selling heroin, which is not a good thing. But when those older women came down the block from the church services or a job, or just they went out to visit a friend and it could have been late, they made sure that those women got home safe. And one of them would leave the pack that were on the corner, and they would stop doing what they were doing, and they would walk the mother up, carry her bags if she had to walk up several flights, and made sure she got inside. You see that? So while we can say, well, you know, they're out there doing stuff that kills off the nation and kills off the people, at the core, they can see through what they were doing, and selfishness and greed for money didn't overtake their need for decency, to show their mother. Whether it was their blood mother or not, it didn't matter. You couldn't come from a different neighborhood and do recklessness to the people there because we had a sense of community. What happened to that love? Where is the love? And like I mentioned last night, you know, Marvin Gaye's song, What's Going On? Makes you want to holler. Those songs were prophetic for this particular day and time. Because the more I listen to those old songs, it's like he's speaking about today. And if he was saying it about that time, what was it that they got away from decades before? Even though we had the white man's knee and boot and our neck, and everywhere we turned we had to deal with that type of oppression, we had more of a love for each other. So where is the love? Are we really a community? Do we see ourselves as a community where it's one for all and all for one? Or is it that our lust for the trinkets of the enemy supersedes any feeling or indebtedness to our brother to make sure that they are okay in life? If we see someone not doing so good, it seems like we just walk past them with no concern. We can hear the rumblings of someone's stomach out of hunger. And as long as our stomach is full and we have our groceries, we don't care if they don't eat for the next 2 or 3 days. Where is the love? Are we really a community? There are so many of us that are so off the mark that when it's convenient for them, they can talk the talk. They can say what they want and it sounds good, but deep down there's a heart of greed and envy and jealousy. I'm so allergic to jealousy. I don't care how much you smile in my face. I don't care how much you say righteous words and we all must live as one and we all must live together, but you go talk about me behind my back. Very destructive words, and come in and smile and expect me to accept a false apology. I can't get down like that. I've even tried to embrace those who have venom in their heart for me, because they feel less than men because they're not doing what they should. I can't even deal with that. Listen, get yourself straight, get some esteem, feel good about yourself before you come to me to destroy my world. So we're not really a community. We're grouped together by the color of our skin, but our actions for many of us are so far apart. And there's nothing in common. But I'm not giving up. But I can't embrace everybody because we're all not community-minded. Understand that. We're all not community-minded. When there's something in it for us and we can put our hand in something to save a little bit of money or walk away with something, yeah, most of us will talk the talk because we know the talk to talk. But that's all it is. I'm going to say it. In all my years dealing with not just hundreds, not just thousands, but millions have seen my work. Millions. And I've talked collectively to millions on shows where there are many audiences all over the world, and they respond to the comment section. I didn't talk individually to millions of people, but I get the feedback collectively. And I have to say, there are a lot of good people out there, good black people out there who are concerned by or for our collective community worldwide. But sadly, the vast majority are not that way. And they're shapeshifters. When need be, they can talk the talk, but really in their heart, they don't have that in their heart. It's only for their own personal gain. And so many of us have got to wake up to this type of entity, but we're duped time and time again, feeling that these people are our brothers and sisters. They may be melanated, but what's in their heart is not love. It's all about them and all about keeping you down. And some of us are some of our worst enemies. We know that and we say that and we hope that it's not that way. But time and time again, we get disappointed. We get let down. We figure out that we are used, our kind hearts. So those of us who are even good people, who have a community-minded mind, we begin to pull back on how easily it was to give our love to those who time and time again take us off. And after a while, even a person like myself, it's like, listen, I'm going to do what I'm commissioned to do. But I do have enthusiasm, but for those who are like-minded. I'm not looking out here for all of these people who say, yeah, brother, we're all one. Or the ones here, so they say, welcome, Aquaba. Let me get some money. I'll help you out with that next week, and you never see him again. There was a lady that I saw in the mall the other day, and I had helped her out with a meal, and I'm not one to kiss and tell. She asked for a little bit to eat. I gave her a whole lot with a little extra money to put in her pocket. She saw me, and I saw her first from a distance, and I was going to go greet her to ask her how she's doing. She saw me and turned her head and ducked into one of the shops and acted like she was looking over the racks of clothes, kind of ducking down watching me. What is that all about? Which means to me, you used me, but it's okay. Many people are not going to see the super kind-hearted heart that I have, but it will be for the exclusive people that I know. I can't just keep giving, because the takers are going to keep taking, and they have no limits. I can't spend time with people who are chaotic by nature, and they feel you have some obligation because they're black to deal with their foolishness, or that they can step on you for years and then come around on an apology and everything's all right. No. I want to say that whatever brings you the most peace is what you spend the most time with. Whoever shows the most consistency in their life mission and the pursuit of their legacy, that's the one, or the few, or the situations that you spend the most time with. We know our people. We're even clairvoyant when it comes time to really having that psychic connection to know when we're being hustled or not. Start utilizing it. I know people now around me, in a sense, that they only see me as a means to an end. They smile and they may do a slight gesture or something small, but they got the eye on the financial prize. They got the eye on the life-sucking energy prize that they want to get from you. And I'm not paranoid. Because if I was paranoid, I'd be a nutcase somewhere sitting down not being productive. But the reason why I can speak this way is because I've formulated rules to living to avoid these situations. And I'm not above insulting somebody with my silence. If you're a piece of crap, I have no use for you. I'm not going to pretend. Just stay away from me. I have to use my love and my focus for those who are really about it. Yes, there is a black community on a righteous level, but it's ever shrinking. And it's not just the white man's fault. It's our fault because we've allowed it. You look at the Native Americans who are here from the Atlantic to the Pacific, way up Canada and way down Mexico. Who knows where those lines were drawn? But America is a pretty sizable place. And in a short time, since this parasitic entity called the white man showed up, you mean so many of them were killed off? America is soaked in the blood of the Native American, but yet they minimize it in their history, and those who remain are on reservations. Reservations that show the same conditions that we have in the downtrodden hoods in America. The alcoholism, the beating of our wives, the crime, the depression, the suicide. This is what America has for us once they get us to a point of extinction the way they have in our heart. But we're all over the world, and that's not going to happen. We are not 9% of the world population like they are. We are not suffering from genetic annihilation like they are. I'm over here in Accra, Ghana, permanently living. And I see how this is a very young population. So by the time the tricks of the enemy may take hold worldwide, they'll be gone. Because this beautiful sun that shines down on me doesn't like them. It burns them, which shows that they don't belong. But we belong. So why are we continuing on with the practices that they put into motion? We've picked up the mantle. We've grabbed the baton to continue on, to diminish ourselves to the delight of that one who is envious of us and our melanated power. Some of us will never wake up. So it makes no sense to say wake up. And even when they begin to wake up, they like their decadence, they like their practices. They have no discipline to get away from that, to sacrifice their pleasures for the whole of us and our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Some of these children we will never see. But they will feel the effects of what we didn't do in the future if we don't do and execute what we have to do now. It's sad because I see us losing grip. Yet I see many younger folks that are great and are conscious and are. So we have to watch the scale. And we have to tip the scales in our favor. And affect the young people to know what they see on social media doesn't limit them to those roles that they show, where they only show our women out there showing their bodies and offering their bodies for money. You're much more than a prostitute, sister. You're much more than a thug or a drug dealer or a rapper, brother. Even the basketball players that they try to put in front of you to motivate you to do that, those numbers are slim to none that you make it. Not to discourage you, but there's so many things that we need in the black community that we're deficient in, that we have to go to another people to fulfill those roles. Where are our collective lawyers? Where are our educators? Where are schools that should be in our neighborhood, a short walk, 2 or 3 blocks, that you should let your child be able to go out to walk 2 or 3 blocks, and every household has that old woman sitting on the front watching them, older men who are retired watching them, helping them across the street, making sure they come to no harm, that if anything looks like any danger, they can run right into one of those houses that are right there. But now we have some of the same people, they won't look out for our children. They'll run inside and get behind the Venetian blinds and watch to see what happens. Ooh, that man, he grabbed him and snatched him. What kind of car was it? Did you take down the license plate? Well, you know, I don't want to get involved. See? I remember there was a song, I think it was James Brown. Everybody right there, get on up. Everybody right there, get into it. Everybody over there, get involved. Do. I mean, it may not have been a super blockbuster hit, but it was big to me. I love that song. Get involved. We should be getting involved in our community even more so, and with talents and abilities that we have, we should give more than we receive. If we have a give more than we receive mentality toward our community, the immediate community where we live and beyond, because we have our circle of concern, we have our circle of influence. Our circle of concern may be all of us worldwide, but our circle of influence may be the very few blocks around us that we can truly influence with our real presence. And we need to understand the difference. And we need to give of ourselves. But is there a black community? Yes, there is a black community, but it's not as much in numbers as it should be. There's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of greed. There are a lot of things that are there that are perpetuated and influenced by other things outside of our community to our detriment. And we need to know that we need to change things around. Because for those of us who are doing our best and running hot on the red line, giving ourselves in our time of service, there are so many able-bodied people who have wise minds or intelligent minds that are not wise. Because if you look at the internet, we have all types of information out there, but we have very little wisdom. So folks can spout statistics and can tell you what's happening here and there, but do they have the wisdom to navigate the shark-infested waters of this world that are diametrically opposed to our upliftment? Do we really have a black community? You decide the answer to that by how you deal and how you give of yourself. If you're slothful and you don't care, then it's a wrap. But if you give more to leave a mark for the children that will be here long after we leave, then maybe we have a chance. It's not over yet, but in actuality, I cannot pour my energy into any old person who's not a proven product. Show me your tracks through history. Show me your tracks through the sands of time of what you have done and how you've lived. And then I will give you my all. Because there's a lot of shysters out here and you need to beware of their presence because they're not doing anything for us. Anyway, I just want to say salute to my brothers. Much love. Mwah. To my sisters. We need to think about what we're going to leave behind for our children, grandchildren, and so on and so forth. We have to get back into the oral history, and we have now gadgets that can record people and keep their images and their voices going on forevermore to influence our children to see their great lineage. Because the wisdom can be passed on that way. Because our children are hungry for the wisdom. They are hungry for the discipline. They want to be corrected. They understand that that is love. And this is why they rebel so much, because they want you to do your job of correction. But how can you when you have governments and leaders who encourage them to overrule you to do what the government says? The government, and the U.S. government especially, is opposed to the growth and the strength and the ascension of the black family. Because they profit if we're not in our homes as fathers. Now someone else becomes a father, and usually it's the state. Because if I'm locked up for doing a crime or locked up for not paying child support, as I should take care of my children, and it shouldn't be an issue where somebody steps in and disciplines me and says, you haven't been paying or taking care of your children. You should automatically do that. But at the same time, we need to choose our mates carefully so it never gets to that. But basically, we choose our mates off of the lust factor. And that doesn't last too long. After a few sessions of steamy, hot, kinky, perverted, delicious sex, we start to look at this person and they're not doing it for us anymore. So how could you build a foundation for a family based on just that? You have to love your woman because of her integrity. You gotta love your woman for the wisdom that she has. You gotta say to yourself, I can really build a family with this woman. But if we don't have these things taught in the black community, not the fake black community, the community that politicians show up for sheer numbers, and they know they're speaking to people who don't have much sense. Because if they knew we had sense and we had the sense to drive our own communities, these politicians who are really agents for the oppressor would step aside because we'd steamroll them. We really wouldn't need to have politicians going for a vote to promise us what we can do or have done. No. We would do it and tell them, listen, if you're not going to serve us properly, you need to go and get out, because we're going to run this thing ourselves. We don't need one person who's an agent of somebody else. So there's so many different things that we have to attend to. And like I said last night on I Just Stars the Mindset channel and on the show with the wonderful guest that he had there in the chat room, I'll say this. We're like a bucket that has 50 holes in it, but we're trying to fill it up with water. How far can you get to bring the water in that bucket to the destination you hope to bring it to if it has 50 holes in it? It will never really fill up. Now, would it? I could see if we had 1 or 2 holes, but the black community symbolically has so many different issues, and we've got to go through and micromanage each issue and tend to it, because any one of those issues can break us down, and say there are 50, if not more of them. Real issues and challenges. See, I'm getting choked up. Real issues and challenges that we have. That it's code red. We need to deal with this now. This is 2023 coming. I remember 2013. I remember 2003. I was doing this thing for 2 years already. 1993, 1983, 1973. I remember all of them. And we still talking the same talk, and we've regressed on many levels just because we have a few hand-picked puppeteer stars in the so-called mainstream, and they get awards. We feel we're making it. It's the first black person to get this award. It's the first black person to become this person in this college and this and this and that. But what is it doing for our people? We need our own system. We need our own way of governing ourselves, because we can't expect the oppressor's children and grandchildren to do right by us when they were put in a position that's advantageous to them, that they don't want to give up. And at the same time, they'll say, well, I had nothing to do with oppressing you people. But you're in a position now because of what was done. So give it up. And we know you're not going to do that. So let's back out of the system. Stay in your system. I'm gone. I'm out. And that's what I did physically, but I'm still concerned about us worldwide. Anyway, there's so much more to talk about, and I do want to talk about it. I have to make a run out. The skies are beautiful. The mountains are beautiful. The air is good. The vibration is just wonderful. It's much better than where I came from, even though we have our issues here. Granted, yes, we do. But there's certain people I don't have to see, certain spirits I don't have to deal with, and now I can think clearer and do even more than I ever did before and just flow with what's in me. And I just thank you all for allowing me to serve my people and speak the truth. And if I'm wrong on anything, maybe a factual thing, or maybe I said something in the old video that you disagreed with, but I agree with now because I've seen more to change, allow me to grow. I'm growing too. At the ripe old age in April of almost 60 years old, I'm growing. And my best days are ahead of me, and nothing is going to ever stop that. Anyway, much love to you all. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts, help to guide me in what to talk about. Let me know what's important to you, and we'll talk about it. We'll do live shows on it. And we have to talk, but it's not just talk. The talk is a precursor before the action. Talking is good and planning is good, but if you don't execute, it means nothing. It's like having a boxer in front of you that's a great champion, and you have the perfect plan to beat him, but you don't execute the plan. You'll never win. So anyway, it's been my pleasure. I wish you all could experience this sun at the 0 latitude and 0 longitude in a black country where everybody looks like us. Yeah, we got some issues over here too, but it's sure nice, and we don't have to have anybody micromanaging us, following behind us in stores and looking at us all funny, and police shining lights. And every time I see a cop, hey brother, boom, and we dap each other. Ain't that something? And these white folks want to call me racist for being somewhere where the people look like me and I'm enjoying myself. Like I have to stay around them so they can subject me to that kind of treatment. No, I'm away from y'all. So y'all who don't like it, tough. I'm having a ball. Anyway, much love to you all. LanceScurv out. On to the next one. Leave your comments.